1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we're good. I think so. Do we have Dave Siegel on Skype? Okay. All right, everyone. So this is a very exciting time for the organization. I don't think we've had so many candidates, so it's a really, really good thing. We're going to go with 2 minutes for each candidate, and then we also need to present to you the bylaw changes that are also on the ballot. So each candidate will have a 2-minute speech. So there is no question period for this, so feel free to talk to everyone at the socials or at any time that you seem fit. Okay, so we will start with our first, we need the slides. We are going in alphabetical order.
Hi, this is Dave.
Hi, Dave. This is Sylvie. So you're part of the team, okay?
Great.
Okay. Can I have the slides, please? Oh, right there. It's not there.
It's right here. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Joe Abley, please.
I'm waiting for the countdown to start. We have a timer. There we go, good. So my name is Joe Abley. I don't really have anything to say about myself. I thought I'd point out that I feel like my career, certainly in North America, started at NANOG. And NANOG's really important. And I think it's great that it's flourished the way it has. And I think there are many things that could be done to make it better, but also continuing the way it is important too. So NANOG is a really important thing, and you should vote. And I think it's less important who you vote for, to be honest, than you vote and you invest yourself in NANOG moving forward. So that's kind of a non-statement from me. It's a vote in favor of the NANOG party. But please go vote, and I've saved a minute, and feel free to use those.
Thank you very much, Joe. William Charnock, please. Ouch. I'm glad you were not on the chair.
Whatever. That's what I get for bringing a heavy backpack with me. My name is Will Charnock. I've been attending NANOG since NANOG 17, I believe, and I don't think I've missed more than 10. And much like Joe said, I feel like while my career didn't start with NANOG, it certainly took a step upwards. As a young engineer, I started attending these meetings, and I feel like I've learned a lot, both from the tutorials, the content, and the sessions, and the relationships that I've built over the years here. It's become an important part of my life. And so in that vein, I decided to run to try and hopefully give something back. Some of the things that concern me, or with some of the transitions that the organization's gone through in the last couple of years, is really, I think, the program committee's done a great job. I worry about relevance, relevance overall. There's a lot of things happening that affect our jobs and our livelihoods as operators, and hopefully with some guidance and leadership, NANOG can at least position itself to help influence some of that, and also prepare the next generation of people that are going to be overseeing what we've built and what we started to build here. So with that, I'd ask for your vote and hand it over early. Thanks.
Thank you, Will. Ryan Donnelly, please.
Thanks, Sylvie. So my name is Ryan Donnelly. In my spare time, I work at VeriSign, which is a diamond sponsor of NANOG, and I also serve on the NANOG PC. Unfortunately, in 2 minutes, I don't think I can quite breeze through the heartfelt campaign speech that I wrote. So what you'll have to settle for instead is me standing up here telling you why I care about NANOG and ultimately why I bother. And it's sort of ironic that I chose the word bother because the genesis of the speech that I wrote was actually a conversation I had in which somebody asked me why I would ever bother to run for the board of directors. And when I was asked that, I bristled a bit because I find the connotation of bother to be somewhat negative. But ultimately, I realized it was kind of the perfect description of what you want in a director. What you want is someone who, in the face of all the things that life throws at us, work, school, kids, daycare, the occasional flat tire, you want somebody who's going to listen to that discordant chorus of voices and ultimately prioritize yours, the voice of the membership. Because people really are the lifeblood of this organization. And someday, hopefully, when we all retire, I'd like to hand what we've created over to people who really see NANOG as being able to be the kind of transformative force in their lives that it has been in mine. That it's kind of the place where you'll build friendships that you can't imagine your life without, and business bridges that truly do endure. So with that, bearing that in mind, I can't think of a greater honor or a higher calling than earning your vote and serving with the people on this dais, the very dedicated people on this dais, to help create that shared legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Gibbard, please.
Hi, so I'm Steve Gibbard, and I've been on the NANOG board for the last 2 years and involved in various aspects of NANOG's governance on and off for several years before that. So I'm the only incumbent here who's running for re-election. There's a great group of new candidates running this time, but I'm running again because there are some things that I'd like to finish that we've been working on over the last few years. 2 years ago, when I was first elected, NANOG was still emerging as an independent organization, trying to prove that it could run these conferences without running out of money. And in that regard, we've been a resounding success. We've been focusing since then on what the future vision is, how we can go from being an organization that just puts on a few conferences to being more of a professional organization for the network operations community. These efforts are starting to bear fruit, and we've had a couple of recent examples of that. The NANOG on the Road meeting that was a meeting for local network operators in Portland, Oregon that happened a month ago. And the education program, which is doing full-day workshops for new network operators that got started, that we had the first one here yesterday. So the education program was my initiative, and I think a lot of you have seen me up here pushing it for the last couple of years, although this summer when we needed the heavy lifting to actually get it going, my fellow candidate Dave Siegel, who you'll hear from in a minute, took over the heavy lifting when I got busy with having a baby and various other things. We've now done one class on that, and the ongoing challenge is to turn it from a single class into a scalable, ongoing program where we can continue getting new content and turn that into a regular thing. And I'd really like to stay on the board for another 2 years because I'd like to continue guiding that and the various other programs we're working on towards maturity. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. 1-1 Jezebel Gilmore.
Thank you, Sylvie. Good afternoon. And there's so much I could say about why I want to be on the board of directors for NANOG, but a couple of simple points. And one, NANOG's given me my life, not just the professional life that I have, but my family, my husband, and my son, who's the youngest member of NANOG, and great friendships that I have built over the years. I can't say enough of what I was able to receive from this community and this organization, and I want to be able to pass that on to the newcomers, to the existing members and attendees, and to continue to expand this community with new blood, new attendees to new locations. And new objectives and projects that, such as educations and NANOG on the road. What sets me apart from the rest of the candidates? I'm female. I'm different in that regard, and also, maybe that's not very important or as important, but I'm in business development. It is my job, in my day job, in my daily job, to make sure that we are doing something strategic and profitable. I want to make sure that NANOG continue to build its reserve, and so it has the resources to pursue the projects that we intend to do. So thank you for listening, and I hope for your vote. Thanks.
Thank you, Jezebel. David Meyer, please.
I won't fall off the back.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Meyer. You know, I saw the thing that we had 2 minutes to where's the timer? Okay, 2 minutes to kind of describe why we wanted to be on the NANOG board, and I was thinking about this, and for me, of course I want to help NANOG. I've been doing it for those of you who don't know me, I think I met Bill like 20 years ago at like NANOG 2 or something, and like Jezebel said, I got a lot of career guidance out of it, so I have a great deal of fondness and kind of, I don't know if it's loyalty or what the right thing is, but I've been working in NANOG for a long time, and I've been on the PC back in the Bill and Susan Harris era and later, and I've been chair of the PC, and I was telling somebody today, it's been one of the most gratifying things I've done in my career. So as far as moving NANOG forward, the direction that we've taken to become more of a professional services organization for our community is really great. The educational and outreach things that people have done. I unfortunately couldn't make it to Portland, which is close to where I live, but it's really impressive what's gone on, and and the development we've had. And I'll say, I'm very impressed by the slate that you folks have to vote for. There's a lot of good people. I mean, you're going to get a good board out of this, however it goes. And then, finally, one of the things that I think some of the other folks have touched on a little bit, but I'll just say maybe more explicitly, is that, I've been around the NANOG, I've been around the IETF and some of these other kinds of industry organizations like this. And one of the things that I've always worked on is trying to bring a sort of a more continuity, both on the top end and the bottom end. So we need to have, always be attracting younger people. And, that's kind of the lifeblood of the organization. So that's one of the many things I've worked on. So I'm out of time, but thank you.
Thank you, David. And now David Siegel on Skype.
Hi there. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person this time around. I had a scheduling conflict I couldn't get out of, but thanks for accommodating me to speak briefly remotely. What a great selection of candidates. I share a lot in common with many of the other folks that have spoken. I've been doing NANOG for almost 20 years. Of course, I know David Meyer is one of the first guys I've met, and just probably one of the absolute friendliest guys in all the NANOG community. And certainly him and guys like him make me feel very welcome. Helped me launch my career, and I have a lot to thank NANOG for. Fast forward almost 20 years later, and I still recognize that how important NANOG was for me. It's just as important to the rest of the industry. Whether we're talking about fostering the advancement of young engineering and operational knowledge, or just keeping the old timers and the more experienced senior engineers inspired and engaged in their industry and keeping them passionate, NANOG plays a huge role. So what I'd like to do is take the not only engineering experience that I've had leading engineering organizations and architecture and long-range planning organizations, but also the last 10 years being more focused on the business side, and bring that well-rounded skill and capability to the NANOG board to help ensure that it's not only sustained but continuously improves its programs and also its reach. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave. And now David Temkin, please.
So let's figure out how short 2 minutes are. So I'm Dave Temkin. Some of you know me from being the chair of the program committee, which I've been for the past 6 meetings. And I'd like to thank the board and the other PC members for letting me do that, because it's really means a lot. I enjoy bringing the content that I've brought to NANOG. I feel as though we strive to keep it relevant, we strive to keep it fresh, and as the industry has changed, we've done a great job of adapting. I'm also the director of network architecture at Netflix, and wearing these 2 hats has given me a unique perspective. At Netflix, we're a platinum sponsor. We've hosted 2 meetings, and as a sponsor, our members benefit because we're not here to sell anything. We're here to leverage the collective knowledge of this group, right? We're not here looking for money. So, these positions are unrelated, but they both help. And, if you look at the other things that we've pushed through recently, you've heard a lot about the education program, heard a lot about NANOG on the road. What my real concern is, what is the next generation of network engineers going to look like? When we talked about the education program at the last meeting, the concern was, how much should it cost? I'll give you a very simple answer. It should cost as little as we possibly could charge, because we don't want people who can afford to pay $5,000 for a class or $500 for a class. We want people who want to improve their career and make more money. We presently have 3 fellowship programs that invite 2 or 3 college students here a year. I want to see 2 or 3 dozen college students here every meeting. We are running a $1 million surplus. We should be using that money to get them here. And I'm sorry for talking fast, but 2 minutes is a short period of time. And so in closing, what I want to do is figure out how to use this amazing nest egg that we're now sitting on, which is the surplus that we have, to further the education of the next generation of network engineers. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And John Van Open.
So I was actually laughing at this a little bit because the first NANOG I went to, I was a senior in college and I bought the tickets myself. And I was in a position to be able to do that because I was working for an ISP at the time. But to me, that's a near and dear piece to my heart when it comes to NANOG. I helped with the NANOG on the road in Portland and did a presentation there and was really kind of overwhelmed with the response I got from people who hadn't engaged in our community. So for me, one of the big things that we could do over time is to figure out how to get more young engineers who want to learn, as well as older engineers that have been in the industry but not participated in NANOG into our fold. This is something that's very critical to me, and I'm finally in a position with I recently sold the company I was working for, but and now work for the acquirer, which has given me a unique ability to donate a little more time to NANOG than I could previously. And I think having that combination of both, having gone through and learned basically all of my network engineering skills from this community, and understanding how important that is for basically training our next generation of engineers. I mean, this is hard. We're trying to hire engineers now, and I know it's difficult. And I'm sure if any of you are in the position of having tried to hire competent engineering talent, it's not easy. And for me, making sure people have access to learn when they have the aptitude to learn is of critical importance. And anything I can do to help from the business angle or from the personal angle by volunteering my time is well worth it.
Thank you. Well, thank you to our 9 candidates. It's really, really appreciated. It just shows how this organization means to all of you. Next up, we are going to go with our new bylaws. Bylaws are like a necessary thing. It's not fun, but we need them. We really pulled some together 4 years ago. There was a first edition 6 years ago, and when we had to create this organization from the ground up, we just had to put something quickly to get going, because it was a requirement to get our incorporation. So time has moved, and after 3.5, 4 years, there are things that we had in our bylaws that are not necessarily bylaws. They're more policies, they're more procedures. So Steve is going to run you through these changes so that you understand why we're recommending the bylaw changes as proposed.
Okay, so now we get to the exciting part of this meeting. I spent many fun nights and weekends working on this till my eyes are blurry and all. So this really is not an attempt to rewrite the bylaws, it's an attempt to reorganize them so that we can find things better, so that when we want to make changes later, it's easier to do, and to remove things that don't really belong in the bylaws document. So what primarily I did was take the existing text and change the order so that things that are logically related are close to each other, things that aren't related are far apart from each other. There's 3 major sections, one of which sort of an introduction, the middle one has more or less what we do, and the end of it is the legal boilerplate stuff that has to be there. There were a few changes that went in as the result of consulting with our attorney, who said if you want to stay alive, you really need to do these things. The rest are things that made sense to do, were not terribly invasive, and can help us go down the road. The 3 I highlighted there are gender-neutral language throughout the document, so we no longer have a chairman and a chairwoman and a chair object or whatever, just a chair. We gave ourselves a bit more flexibility with ad hoc committees, in particular the ability to appoint non-members. So if, for example, we needed a budget or finance committee, we could appoint somebody who had a background of expertise in that area without having to require them to pay the $100 to be a member. And finally, we removed a whole bunch of details about how the conferences are organized, which really don't belong in a legal document, into a separate set of policies and procedures. The other changes were pretty minimal, mostly just changing language to make them, again, match what legally was supposed to be there, so that we could legally hold votes and things like that. Any wholesale changes as to how we operate, we can handle in future elections if we choose to go that route, or we can leave them alone. The thing that I found going through them is that we actually had a pretty good document. Aside from the ordering of things, there wasn't really a whole lot to worry about. So with that said, I would like to encourage everybody to vote yes on the amendment when you vote. The amendment is to just replace the bylaws wholesale with the new document. And at this point, I'll ask if there's any questions on this exciting and fascinating topic. All right then, thank you very much, and please vote.
Okay, so voting is through Arrow. You should all have a login and a password. And Betty was telling me that due to our web server being down, a lot of requests came to reset those passwords, and our staff is going through your requests as we speak. So you should be reissued your passwords, not an issue. If you're not, come to the front desk and seek some help, okay, to the membership table. So now we have 10 minutes until 5? Yeah?
15 minutes.
I have 10 too, but cool. We have 14 minutes. So this is a community meeting, so we can open the floor to questions. We want to hear from you. This is your organization. We're there for question, and the board members are all here, so you can ask any question you want.
What
what can be done to give people more reason to be a member of NANOG?
Okay. So this is actually a portion of our strategic plan for the next 5 years. We do want to increase the relevance to members at every stage of their career. So what we need to assess is, do we have the right programs in place to appeal to the early career, mid-career, late career engineers, and make sure that we bring you the right content or the right platform to exchange ideas. So this is an ongoing thread, and it will be very much the priority of the next board, and they will have to figure this out. At the same time, you as a member should start a thread on the membership list and propose ideas. It's your organization, you're a member, it's yours, and tell us what would bring value to you as a member.
So if I may.
Any more?
No, yeah, I actually wanted to continue on this, and maybe other board members who wanted to could also find mics. I've actually debated this myself quite a bit, and the reason why we have members at all is because legally we're required to. We have to have a way of electing officers and keeping the organization going. That said, that's not an exciting reason to have members. One of my goals is to keep NANOG open to everybody who is able to participate in whatever way they can, members or no members. In my view, members are the people who actually care enough about the organization to want to have a say in how it's run, to tell us, the board, what to do, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and possibly to be on the board or other committees themselves. I don't want to force people to be members because they get fancy trinkets or books or anything like that. That might be a nice side effect, but it's not a reason to me to want to become a member. Now, other board members might have different opinions, but that's how I view it.
Yep.
So today, we have 460 members of NANOG, and a couple of years ago when we started this thing, there was a lot of debate over whether we should assume we have 100 members or 250 members, total max forever. And because there was a lot of concern that there wouldn't be enough people interested in being members. So at 460, we're doing pretty good. I have to say the one thing that, a lot of things have come together for now. The meetings have gone very well. The funding has gone very well. The program continues to be wonderful. The one thing that has been difficult is figuring out the value proposition for membership other than being involved in the governance of the organization. I think that's pleased people to be part of that, but definitely from this group, it's important to hear what people want the value proposition to be. And a lot of people here are members of other groups, and if there's value those groups are bringing you as a member that you're not getting from NANOG, or there's any other value you think you should get from NANOG as a member, this has been a challenge for the board and for all the volunteers to try to figure out, what the right mix of member benefits is.
So Kevin, if you're, sorry.
One other thing I just wanted to point out that reminded me of is, originally when we were doing budgets and things, we had certain numbers of members into bringing revenue. That's no longer an issue. NANOG is doing fine financially. We don't need an extra couple $100 from new members. So that's not part of the equation for trying to figure out what members ought to be.
So this whole discussion on the value for membership, like Dan was talking about, will be discussed, I think it's Wednesday morning, yes, the members' breakfast. So please join, be part of that conversation. Was there an intervention here? No? Okay.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Okay.
I'll talk about it on Wednesday.
Okay. Any other question?
Question here.
Oh, yes. Oh, over there. Greg and then John.
Thank you. I had heard that number, 460 members. How many voted in the last election? I'm curious. Do we have numbers on that? I couldn't find it on there.
You have it? Okay, we have them. Betty's finding them. Yes. John?
Hey, I'm John Springer on the telephone. I'd just like to compliment and congratulate the board and the communications committee for the work on the website. particularly getting the meeting minutes. It's awesome. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Louis?
Hi, thanks, Sylvia. Louis D. Economics. I'm scanning through today's survey and I don't see a question. Just jumping back to the reason for joining membership real quick. I don't see a question on if you're a member, what are you looking, is there anything else you want to be looking for in your membership? Or maybe if you're not a member, what has kept you from becoming a member? And I'm wondering if that might be a valuable thing to add to the survey.
Sounds like two good questions to ask. Yes, thank you.
Louis, what was sent out last time, the last large, basically turning out of people who were members who didn't renew? There were the questions asked on an individual basis, why aren't you renewing? And so I'm not sure, Betty, do we have that stored somewhere, or was it just an informal thing? It was an informal thing, but yeah, we did.
So we'll talk about this at the members' meeting too. Thanks, Louis. 2 more minutes. 2 more questions. No? Okay, well, thank you everyone. And please come to the members' breakfast. We have good bacon.